All right, let's just jump right into this. Because every once in a while, an announcement comes along that isn't just an update. It's a total rewrite of what we think is possible. And what Elon Musk just put on the table, it's exactly that. We're not talking about a new product. We're talking about the potential start of a whole new industrial revolution.
And this is the big idea right here. We are about to see two of the most powerful forces shaping our world, artificial intelligence and space, smashed together. So don't just think about SpaceX launching rockets over here and XAI training models over there. No. This is about the point where those two incredible paths meet.
And it all kicks off with this number 1 terawatt. Now, to give you some sense of scale here, that's a level of compute power that's about 50 times the entire planet's current AI output. And get this, that's the annual goal for just one project. Insane. So, what is this project? It's called TeraFab. And this is the bomb Musk just dropped. So let's unpack exactly what it is and, more importantly, why it could literally reshape our future. Okay, so what is TeraFab? Well, at its most basic, it's a giant $25 billion factory in Austin, Texas that's going to make computer chips. But, calling TeraFab just a chip factory is kind of like calling a space station just a tall building. It's so much more. It's a completely vertically integrated complex designed to be the engine for the next era of AI. And here's where you see how all the pieces of the puzzle fit together. It's a joint venture, right, between Tesla, SpaceX, and XAI. They're even bringing in Intel as a partner to use their cutting-edge manufacturing process. But check this out. There are two completely separate production lines. One for stuff down here on Earth, for Tesla, and the other, the orbital line. And that's where this story really, truly takes off. Which brings us to the logic behind this entire and, let's be honest, wildly ambitious plan. See, it's not just about making a ton more AI chips. It's about where that AI is actually going to live and do its work. And this has to be the question on your mind, right? It just sounds like something straight out of science fiction. I mean, why would you go through all the immense trouble and all that expense of putting supercomputers in orbit when we've got perfectly good ground right here? Well, it turns out the answer isn't just ambition, it's about raw, hard physics. Down here on Earth, AI is an energy hog. It puts a huge strain on our power grids and needs constant, expensive cooling. Plus, it's tied to wherever it's physically located. But in orbit, the game completely changes. You get 5 times more solar energy. The vacuum of space gives you perfect and, more importantly, free cooling. And you occupy the ultimate strategic high ground, literally above it all. So this is the crucial part right here. This isn't just some cool science experiment. It's a straight-up economic play. The entire goal is to hit a tipping point, a moment where the laws of physics make it fundamentally cheaper, by the year 2029, to run a massive AI in orbit than it is to run it on the ground. Okay, but how? How is this even remotely possible? Why is SpaceX pretty much the only company on the planet that could realistically even attempt something on this scale? The answer is what some people are calling a vertical moat. They've built themselves what you could call an unfair advantage. But it's an advantage they've been painstakingly building for over 2 decades. See, it's not about just one piece of technology. It's about their complete, total control over every single piece of this enormous puzzle. I mean, just look at the stack they control. It's incredible. It all starts with launch. Starship is by far the cheapest way to get a ton of stuff to orbit in human history. Then you need a network to connect it all. And boom, they have Starlink. On top of that, you need the brains, the AI models themselves, which they have from XAI. And now with TeraFab, they're building that final critical piece, the custom silicon, the hardware backbone for the whole system. From the rocket to the chip, they own it all. So the big question is, how do you pay for all this? Well, you're looking at the engine right here. Because they've basically perfected reusability, their internal cost for a Starship launch is unbelievably low, maybe 15 to 20 million bucks. But what do they charge customers? 70 million. That massive gap, that huge profit margin, that's the fire hose of cash that's going to fund this entire multi-trillion-dollar vision. But we have to take a deep breath here. Let's be very, very clear. This is not a sure thing. The vision is absolutely breathtaking, but the risks are just as monumental. This is an enormous civilization-scale gamble. And that is the estimated price tag to get the whole thing built out. $5 trillion. Let that sink in. It's a number that's so big, it's hard to even wrap your head around. It's more than the GDP of most countries on Earth. So where in the world does that kind of money come from?
I mean, even for Musk, this is a financial stretch like no other. The only realistic way to do it would probably be a massive SpaceX IPO, and the rumors are already swirling that it could happen in late 2026. This would almost certainly be the largest public offering in history, a huge opportunity for investors, absolutely, but also a gigantic risk.
And the financial risk is really just the beginning. The amount of capital required is just off the charts. You've got massive technical hurdles, like a huge supply chain bottleneck for the special machines that make the chips. Then you've got to figure out how to make all this silicon survive the harsh radiation of space. And then there's the ever-present nightmare scenario of something called the Kessler syndrome, the risk that just one collision in orbit could start a chain reaction that makes space unusable for everybody. It's a minefield of challenges. So, after all that, what's the verdict? Where do we land? Is this whole thing a delusional pipe dream, something straight out of a sci-fi novel, or is it the logical next step for humanity? Probably the most powerful way to think about it is this. SpaceX has basically just moved the goalposts. While everybody else, nations and companies, is still focused on just getting to orbit, Musk is already designing the economy in orbit. The race isn't about rockets anymore, it's about building orbital infrastructure. And that leads us to the final, and maybe the most important takeaway. At the end of the day, this isn't really about AI, and it's not even just about space. What's being built here is the fundamental industrial base, the factories, the power, the computing, for an economy that isn't tied to a single planet. It's a bet of staggering, mind-boggling proportions, with risks to match. It could absolutely fail spectacularly, but if it succeeds, it changes the course of human history. I guess only time will tell us if this huge bet is just a pipe dream or the next big step for all of us.